Hi folks, this is Dr. Rob CYWES, and I am the Carb Addiction Doc, and I have no shame in saying that I steal. I'm a thief. I'm an intellectual thief. But yeah, I come up with a lot of my own content. I come up with a lot of my ideas, but one of the things I'm doing, because my head is always thinking about this, is I filter information from other people. And so often, my patients who've been, or people that I know that have followed this channel, that have been impressed with what you're doing, they're engaging in the lifestyle, they're having fun themselves, they're smart, they're intelligent, and in conversation, in some of the comments, they leave wonderful phrases, wonderful words, wonderful concepts that I acquire and then I share with you. Now, if you want to call that intellectual stealing like I do, I'm just going to smirk at it. It's fine. Go ahead and do it. For example, I had a doctor a little while ago talk to me about the modern healthcare system, and she used a phrase, and she was bitterly upset about it. She said, I have been turned into a doctor who is no longer allowed to think. I practice algorithm medicine. And wow, that just struck me, that concept of algorithm medicine, and that you are no longer required to ask, why is this patient sick? You cookie cutter mold them into algorithm medicine. And that is just such a sad indictment of where our healthcare system is going. But then I had, and this is the purpose of today's discussion, I had another patient, Karen K., who is really invested in our program, doing amazingly well. And she looked at our self-care program and she said, how do I create for myself a diverse, effort-based emotion management system to replace the removal of the carbohydrates as my addictive substance of choice to manage my emotional need? And that's the cornerstone of our carb addiction practice, is not just the removal of the carbohydrates, but developing a diverse, effort-based emotion management system. And we talk about it, you hear me talk about it a lot, but she came up with a concept that she called CHESS. CHESS. And it just blew my mind. And she had written it out and she explained it to me. I said, Karen, I'm going to steal this from you. This is IP. You haven't branded it yet, intellectual property. And she said, by all means. And I love her for that. She's doing brilliantly well. But Karen, this video is a homage to you because it's taking what we're doing and helping people to understand it in that formula. So CHESS. The C, creative arts. So let me back up. What are we talking about here? We're talking about daily intentional practice of effort-based self-care, carving time out of your day every day to engage in something that gives you emotional restitution, allows you to think through issues in your life, and allows you, because you've put effort into it, to generate emotional well-being from within that in an unconditional way builds up in little increments self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-respect. And ultimately, when your sense of self is strong, you can generate emotional well-being from within. You do not need drugs to do this. So what is the foundation of an intentional and then a vicarious? So there's intentional and vicarious, if it's top of your head, ways to manage emotional need through an effort-based system. And that's CHESS. So the first C are the creative arts. Reading, writing, music, fashion, photography, sculpture, painting, gardening, anything creative, doing puzzles, playing games, all of those things are part of the creative arts. And a lot of people are wired that way. A lot of people are musically wired. A lot of people are thespians. A lot of people are literates. A lot of people enjoy games and puzzles and arts and crafts. And if that's who you are and that's what you love to do, assign time each day to do that and put that in your environment. We almost always have some form of a puzzle on one end of our dining room table. So when you're walking past it, you stop and you put a few pieces of the puzzle in. And that surrogates, that replaces that perpetual walk to the fridge or the pantry, oh, what do I need to eat? Well, that is for emotion management. But sitting there and putting pieces of the puzzle in, or a Sudoku book that I've got next to my favorite chair where I drink my coffee in the mornings, doing some of that puzzle. Having a Bible that you read, we'll come to that in a second. Or having a little fork and a trowel like I do next to my back door where I go out in my yard and I do some weeding. Creative arts. C. H, healthy, empathetic human connection. Human connection. And no addicts by definition have healthy human connections. Because by definition, addicts' sense of self is in the toilet, and we're petrified and ashamed of how other people see us and what they think of us. Healthy human connection requires two things. Number one, implicit trust in the person that you're with, that they will not be judgmental or critical of you. Now, a lot of people out there will say things to you that sting, and they're critics because they're not on your inside list. But 2 or 3 or 4 people in your environment are people that you can implicitly trust, that when they say something that stings, it wasn't meant to hurt. It wasn't criticism. It was meant to help. It still stings. But you want to take that thought out for a walk and consider it and process it. It comes from a critic, ignore it. So the first part of empathetic human connection is to establish unconditional trust in 2 or 3 people. We listen to what they say instead of reject it. But then into that space, within that space of trust, you then have to take the risk of being vulnerable, the risk of talking and putting out certain things you're ashamed of, certain things that are bothering you, certain things that you want to process in their presence. And also being receptive to their need to do the same. When your kids come to you and say, man, Dad, I had a rough day today with this kid that beat me up, or this kid that's bullying me, or this teacher, don't give them advice. Just be there, be present, and listen to them, and let them talk it through. Because once you start giving them advice, they do this. Become a listener. Become a listener. C, creative arts. H, healthy, empathetic human connection. E, exercise. Now, I don't like the word exercise. It fits the little phrase, the chess word, but it's physical activity. And physical activity should be both intentional as well as opportunistic, because if it's top of your head, then it's replacing snacking. So I intentionally take my dog for a walk or a run every day. There are other times when I intentionally plan to do something. For example, right now, I'm intentionally planning to run a race in March that requires me training for it. So I've set that as a milestone. I've set that as an objective. So now I intentionally run every day in training for that race. But the intentional part is going to the gym or going for a swim or going for a walk or doing something physically active every day, carving that time out of your day. But then also the flip side of E, of exercise, is looking for opportunities every day in your day-to-day life. Do that lonely set of stairs. Carry that basket instead of pushing the cart. Get up and change the channel on the TV manually rather than just clicking through the clicker. Park your car a little further away and walk that extra distance. Walk down to the mailbox rather than sending somebody. There's opportunities throughout the day. I call those action snacks. Action snacks. Do something a little physically active. Maybe even just stretching. When last did you do this? When last did you put your arms together above your head? When last did you sit flat on the ground, on your butt, crisscross position on the ground? Can you? Exercise. The first S is spirituality and meditation. And meditation is active. It's not just falling asleep. It is active meditation, calming your conscious brain down so that you can look at your subconscious brain, the conscious brain letting go of the emotional tension, the subconscious brain helping you to resolve and think through issues that are causing you emotional tension. So meditation is important, and spirituality has a very similar role. It really isn't just about church and Bible. It could be reading a verse of the Bible, going to church, but really that is an entry point to thinking about yourself in the context of that word, or perhaps having that connection, that conversational connection with your higher power. And man, I've had a rough day today. I need some guidance. I need some help. Or hey, I'm having a really good day today. But having that conversation to help you to deal with emotional need, spirituality and meditation. The second S in the chest actually has 2 forms to it. The first one is healthy sleep. Sleep, sleep, sleep. And so many people have sleep disturbance. And sleep is going to be a whole nother chapter in a whole nother video for us. But the essence of healthy sleep, yes, you want to do all the relaxing things to go to sleep. You want to declutter your mind at night. But something I learned in Poland last year from a guy who promoted something called the 555 Club, he said that the most important thing about a healthy night's sleep is waking up early at the same time each day. So I've implemented over the last few months a 5:55 rule. I don't get out of bed after 5:55. Often I'm out beforehand. Now at first few weeks, oh, you're miserable, you're exhausted at night. But guess what you do? If you're exhausted at 9 o'clock, you get into bed and you go to sleep. And you don't delay and procrastinate by dicking around, that's Latin, on TikTok or on Instagram or on Facebook or in front of the TV where you're meaningfully just dumbing down. We spend so much time late at night procrastinating on sleep because we're watching a screen. Well, if you get up at 5:55, you're exhausted by 9 o'clock. Screw the screen, I'm going to bed. And that becomes a habit. And if you go to bed at a decent hour because you're exhausted, it means you can wake up early. If you delay and go to bed at 12, 1, 2 o'clock at night, now you're hitting the snooze button, you're creating chaos in the morning and your day falls apart. I'm not going to go for a run or a walk if I'm exhausted. Not going to happen. Okay? But if I've had a good night's sleep, I'm really up for that run or that walk. Now, there's one caveat here, folks, and this is something I want to throw out there. One of the things I've started implementing in my 5:55 a.m., there are times when, I go to bed at 9 o'clock and I feel great in the morning. But like last night, I came home late, I had to drive down from Jacksonville, and then I got a call from the hospital, emergency situation, there's a patient in there that's having an emergency. I'm a surgeon. So now at 10:30, 11 o'clock, I'm going to the hospital, rushing to the hospital, having to operate on someone. I'm exhausted. Still going to get up at 5:55. But one of the things I do, and I've implemented this, is this guy. This is called Ketone IQ. It's a ketone ester. It's actually not a ketone ester. It's a formula of ketones. It's not the ester and not the salt. Okay? I've been told the science. It's not in my head. But we've tested a whole bunch of ketones, and that Ketone IQ, sold by a company called HVMN, is my pick-me-up. So when I'm exhausted this morning, about 2 hours before I started taping these videos, it's Sunday morning right now, okay? I hit that ketone ester. And I can feel I'm already in ketosis, but I can feel my ketone boost going up for about 4 hours. So while I'm taping these videos, you'll see me have a little bit of a buzz. That's coming from Ketone IQ. So I use that when I'm exhausted. I still get out of bed at 5:55 a.m., but I'll drink that ketone so I can go for my run in the morning and be focused at work. Not every day. But when life throws me curveballs at night, that's what I use. And if you're interested, I'm not telling you it's going to work for everybody. It won't. Works for me. Okay? Try it. But if you're going to try it, don't buy a whole huge batch. Buy a few. You go to hvmn.com, use the Carb Addiction Doc or Dr. CYWES discount promo code. They give you 20% off. And try it. And let me know. Some of you may find no benefit whatsoever. Others will swear by it. But do the experiment. Don't use them all the time, but I use them when I've had a rough night, when I've been up the whole night working, and I've got to be on for the next morning. That's when I use my ketone esters. Okay, so the first S is sleep. The next S is for sex. Healthy sexual activity is an incredibly powerful effort-based emotion management system. Yes, it can become disruptive. Yes, it can become addictive. And in fact, the next 2 episodes on this channel are going to be talking about how to use healthy sexuality as a wonderful, beneficial, positive way to deal with emotional tension as an effort-based mechanism. And the final S in chess is healthy sexuality. So to recap, we've got creative arts, we've got healthy human connection, we've got exercise or physical activity, we've got spirituality, meditation, we've got sleep, and we've got healthy sex. And if you engage in those on a regular basis and daily carve out of your busy day time to do some or all of those, You do not need crystal meth, carbohydrates, alcohol, nicotine to manage your emotional needs. The escape from addiction is not just giving up, but replacing. And if you replace a substance abuse relationship with an effort-based relationship based on chess, you're going to make the right moves. Ooh, that's kind of a Howie Mandel moment. You know, he's stupid when he comes with those little analogies with that. I just did that, you see? If you use chess to make healthy moves, you're going to be the grandmaster of your own life. I am the carb addiction doc. I know it's maybe the keto ester is wearing off right now, or the ketone IQ is wearing off. However, folks, if you're interested in having us help you to deal with carb addiction, give us a shout. WhatsApp us, call us, 561-517-0642. Thanks, Karen, for this content. But also, if you've enjoyed this content, support what we do. Support my little ketone IQ habit as well. Throw a few dollars at us, okay? Helps to keep this content free, helps to help us do this on a Sunday morning. If you look in the show notes down below, there's our PayPal account, there is our Patreon account. Throw a few dollars at us if you don't mind. I am the Carb Addiction Doc. Till next time.